The Sigma 16mm has long been one of my favorite lenses for my APS-C cameras. I've recommended this more times than I can count, and the 4.8 Amazon rating with over 5,000 reviews should tell you a little bit about its popularity. There comes a time, however, that a little David challenges the Goliath and miraculously wins. And that may happen today. This is the new Viltrox 15mm f1.7. It's a familiar looking Air series lens that in a side-to-side comparison appears to be sharper than the mighty Sigma. Is this truly a smaller, lighter, sharper, half-price alternative? In this video, I'll show you the tests, the flaws, and everything you need to know about this new lens. This video is sponsored by Viltrox. However, they have no input in what I say. They will not preview this video before it goes live, and I am treating it exactly as I would a regular review. So if it's better than the Sigma, I will tell you that. If there are flaws, which there are some, I will point them out, and I will not conceal any of them so that you can decide whether or not this is worth spending your money on. I will have links to this new lens down below so you can check out prices, as those do change depending on when you see this video and could potentially get much better over time with coupons and sales and all of that fun stuff. So let's begin. From a physical standpoint, this lens is exactly the same as the 25, the 35, and the 56mm versions of these f1.7 Air lenses. So this edition makes the Viltrox Air Quartet, which is direct competition to the Sigma Quartet. Compared to the Sigma 16, it's about half the size and less than half of the weight. The Viltrox is 180 grams versus the Sigma's 405 grams. Construction is plastic and glass. It feels good, not nearly as premium as the Sigma, but fit and finish is solid. It doesn't feel like a cheap piece of plastic. Starting at the rear, there is a metal mount, electronics, a USB-C port for firmware updates, but no weather sealing gasket such as what you get with the Sigma. The lens specs here on top, Viltrox logo here, and there is only one ring here, and that is the manual focus. It is well damped and relatively smooth, with some slight plastic on plastic sound at times, but pretty solid nonetheless. Around the front is a compact front lens element with a bunch of specs, APS-C frame, 58mm front filter thread, and a minimum focus of 0.75 feet. Inside there are 12 elements in 10 groups, 8 of them being advanced elements, a 9-bladed diaphragm, and focus is handled by an absolutely silent STM motor. Mounted on my A6700, this is a significantly smaller and lighter setup for walk-around work, and going back to that Sigma makes it seem positively large by comparison. But the question becomes, does this small size hinder performance? Well, I took this lens and my A6700 and I revisited with Janessa, our old university, and we snapped some photos and reminisced on the days that we were both so young. All of these samples are straight out of camera JPEGs, no editing. The only thing that I did is I ran the portraits through Rebloom, which is an AI-powered simple retouching software that gets rid of red eyes and small blemishes with no effect whatsoever on sharpness or colors or anything else. So let's see how this little lens does. Ready, set, go. To keep things simple, this is an excellent performing lens. I did a side-by-side comparison with the Sigma 16mm, and here you go. Portrait wide open on both lenses. The Viltrox is sharper. It's impressive to see this from a budget lens, and given its size. The bokeh on the Sigma at f1.4 is bigger and smoother, which is to be expected, but even stopped down to f1.8, the Viltrox is still the sharper lens out of the two. Bokeh again is not as good, but it has less fringing on bokeh highlights. For landscape work, here is the Viltrox versus the Sigma stopped down to f1.8. I'll let you be the judge of this. Here is the center of the frame. Here is the corner. Take a look at the difference in fringing and sharpness. But not only that, look at the contrast levels as well. The text right here shows a pretty significant difference. This lens is a big surprise for me in terms of performance. In my eyes, it's sharper across the frame than the Sigma, which is quite incredible. Here's another portrait where it's close, but I have to give the edge to the Viltrox. The only thing the Sigma does better is the bokeh is smoother and bigger, even stopped down to f1.8, although it does exhibit a little bit more Loca fringing. The Viltrox has great colors, great contrast levels, and it gives you that all too familiar 24mm equivalent field of view. It is 22.5 to be exact, so it's a little bit wider, but what you get is about what you see from your standard iPhone lens, and it's an exceptionally usable field of view that brings in a lot of your environment for portraits, but can also be used for landscape work as well. If you shoot APS-C, this is one of those must-have focal lengths. A lot of people ask me about using full-frame lenses, zoom lenses in particular, on their APS-C cameras. And I always advise against that solely for the reason that if you're getting something like a 24-70 or a 28-75 on an APS-C camera, that doesn't really give you that 24mm equivalent field of view. Every A-roll shot that I feature on my YouTube channel, all of these videos right now, these are all done at either 24mm on my A7C or 24mm equivalent on my Sony FX30 or A6700. I think for YouTube, it's the perfect focal length for these kind of talking head style videos. Nearly all of my YouTube friends use the 24mm field of view or equivalent, so it's great for storytelling. Now, is this Viltrox perfect? Well, no. It has a strange wavy mustache style pattern on a flat subject, which is slight, but it is there, and the waviness makes it a little bit more challenging to correct in post. Vignetting is also significant wide open, but it does brighten up nicely by about f5.6. There is longitudinal chromatic aberration, which is green or purple color fringing on autofocus high contrast areas, and there is a little bit of standard chromatic aberration in there as well, although I would consider this to be very well controlled. When you look at the entire package, you aren't giving up much by choosing this Viltrox over the Sigma alternative. The Sigma is brighter at f1.4 and it gives you smoother bokeh, and that's about it. The Viltrox really isn't worse in any other performance category. In terms of sharpness, it's even better across the frame, so there's some things to think about. Even in terms of autofocus performance, this Viltrox is stellar. It's snappy, it's accurate, it's silent. I had no issues with my lens copy whatsoever. There is a bit of focus breathing, which I suppose is another area in which the Sigma outperforms this Viltrox. The Viltrox does have a bit of breathing here, but eye tracking, subject detection, all of it worked seamlessly, and this lens can easily be used in a vlogging style setup. It might be a little bit tight with some stabilization crop applied, but usable. Flare control is excellent on this Viltrox. Here is a sample of that. You can tell that Viltrox is using higher quality internal elements to get this sort of performance. Really, there's a lot to like with this new lens release. I was expecting this to be mediocre, but it turned out to be a refined lens. And I think that Viltrox has figured this out, because I was also expecting this lens to be around that $179 price point that the others in this new quartet share, but this one is a little bit more. Retail price at launch today is $239 US. And I believe I'll have a coupon code for you guys, so check down in the description to get the best price and also get a little discount with a coupon if you are looking to buy one of these. Even so, at $239 US, this is about half the price of the Sigma, and in a few ways it is better than the Sigma, especially if a small form factor, small footprint is important for you. I think it's an absolute home run lens from Viltrox, and I think that they are going to sell a bunch of these. In fact, I was waiting for an ultra wide in this series and we finally got it. So if you shoot YouTube videos with APS-C and you don't have a Sigma, you should get one of these or consider getting one of these. If you want a very usable wide lens that's perfect for groups of people, scenery, great travel focal length, get this. If you already own the Sigma, I don't think you need to be selling it to get this, unless again the smaller size is a big issue for you. But if you are brand new and you are looking for kind of a first starter lens to use for whatever it is that you love to shoot, then I would recommend getting something like a 16 or a 15mm prime lens. And I'd say that you are safe to save the $200 by getting the Viltrox over the Sigma, as long as you're okay with the focus breathing and the few other issues that we discussed. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Are you impressed by this? Is the small size factor a factor for you? Do you think the Viltrox Quartet is getting good? Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.